Welcome to Stage Mom Podcast, a podcast for breakthrough bands and artists. Today we have American Sigh. American Sigh is an indie rock folk band out of Palm Beach, Florida. I was over the moon when Theo said that he would sit down and chat with me. Because I'm such a huge American Sigh fan, I was so scared that I was going to fangirl Theo and scare him off. But I made it out alive, shockingly, and didn't make too much of a fool of myself. It was so good to get to know the guy behind the incredible music. I enjoyed every second of it. Be sure to follow American Sigh on all of their social media networks, and also go check them out at this year's SunFest 2022. It's gonna be a blast. Okay, so we have American Sigh, Theo. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the band and where you're from.
I am originally from California.
Okay.
I moved to Florida after I finished college, and that was about 5 years ago.
Okay.
I had various bands before that, but when I moved here, I kind of started like a new identity, I guess, as a band, and I guess the idea of it was just to use it as kind of a vehicle for my own songwriting. I've been songwriting for a long time, but bands can take many shapes. So I guess the idea was just to have a place where I can record and perform my songs with people, other musicians, and get a band together and that sort of thing. So
okay. So where did you go to college in California?
I actually went to college in Indiana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you went, and then you went to California, and then you came here. What made you come here from California?
I got a job here, basically. That was it.
Okay.
Just good job, just kind of starting my adult life, sort of. And, I wanted to, I don't know. I'm not scared of, I guess, trying out a new place.
Right.
I moved around a lot when I was growing up, so I've kind of experienced a lot of different cultures and that sort of thing. So
I have this 5 mile radius of my comfort zone, and I can't move out of it. I'm a native Floridian. I've been in Broward County my whole entire time.
Yeah.
I'm 46, so.
Well, it's beautiful down here, so.
Yeah, and I'm happy you said that, because a lot of people that, a lot of my friends that have lived here and then they move away, they start talking trash on Florida. I'm like, well, it was good enough for 40 years, so I don't know. Mm-hmm. So what did you study in high school? In college?
Engineering.
Oh, okay.
I'm an engineer, I guess, by my day job, sort of.
Okay. All right, that's cool. Yeah, that's definitely not in my wheelhouse of things. Like I said, I had a hard time putting the microphone on. So, anyhow, American Sigh, where did you come up with the idea for it, and what's the name? What's behind the name of it?
I guess I had started when I was in college. I had this band with some friends called City Mist, and that, I was writing the songs and all that, but I started writing more songs later on that I guess they weren't inherently political or really overtly political, I guess, but they were just a little more dealing with more societal angst, I guess, than teenage angst and that sort of thing. So I sort of was thinking I wanted it to be a little more outwardly looking.
Right.
So anyways, I had a batch of songs basically that sort of spoke to me in a certain way, and I was kind of just, I don't know. At the time I had this long list of band names, and I was asking friends for band names and stuff like that. So I had a ton of them, and I sort of was just thinking one night Runner's High. I run too sometimes, so just thought it would be cool Runner's Sigh. I like the word sigh. I think it's an interesting word. And it's kind of interpretable. So then I just thought American Sigh. It's sort of I don't know, American Pie, American Psycho. It's just there's a lot of things that kind of have that sort of cadence to it. So I thought it would kind of be, it's sort of a pop culture reference, but at the same time, it's interpretable to your own meaning. And,
right.
I guess when I'm, the few times that I've come up with band names, I like them to be, or my favorite band names of other bands too, are kind of more they're open to interpretation. They can change, the meaning changes over time. They're not so static and,
right.
So that was sort of the impetus for the band name, I guess.
Okay.
It's certainly changed over time.
So how long have you guys been together? American Sigh.
Well, I guess I've been playing it with, as a band called American Sigh for like 4 years now, maybe 4.5, and the lineup has kind of always been constantly changing. It's never stopped really, even though I tried to fight it from changing, but change happens. So
yeah.
Like 4.5 years. It's kind of like I said, it's just been ever evolving, and kind of new people have joined and people have left, and it's always been So that's basically like 4.5 years or so playing as the band.
Okay. Yeah. My daughter, she's a drummer, and I totally understand what you're saying about the whole like you trying to stop it from like changing and being like this revolving door sort of thing. And, like it was like an unheard of thing. Like if like her band stayed together like shockingly for 4 or 5 years, and until she's 19, until the bassist he's at Berkeley now. But it was we could never imagine any other players in that whole game there.
Yeah.
So I totally understand what you're saying with that. So for anybody that's never heard of American Sigh, how would you describe your music?
Indie rock, folk.
That's what comes to mind is folk when I listen.
Yeah, there's I guess like a lot of rock music kind of comes from folk, I think, and there's definitely a lot of that influence there. I like folk music, I like rock music, obviously, and I don't know, melancholy, like introspective, angsty, that kind of, just, I guess I always feel funny, like, talking about that sort of thing, because it's sometimes, like, just the way I say it sounds like it could apply to any band almost, you know what I mean, or any modern band, so it's sort of like what actually distinguishes the band. It's hard to put that into words. Right.
Yeah, and angsty, that word, I just recently learned when I started doing podcasts.
Yeah.
Every band uses that word.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I had to go look it up. I was like, okay, I just went with it, and then I had to look it up. So, have you always been in music, or is it something that happened over time, or is your family in music? Or?
I have played music most of my life. I started taking like kind of music lessons, I guess, when I was like 4 or something, or around that time. And my parents got me, like, those kind of were like general music lessons for a couple years when I was kind of younger, and then they turned into like piano lessons for a long time. So I was playing piano through that time and sort of like learning like kind of the fundamentals of like reading music and that sort of thing. And then like around like, when I was like a teenager, when I just, around like 10 or 12, people started playing guitar, so I kind of was like seeing other people play guitar, and so I wanted to do that, and like, it's a cooler, kind of more like modern instrument, I guess, than like piano. So I had this like deal with my mom basically one year where like I was supposed to take this like piano exam basically at this like Academy of Music kind of thing. And so she was like, well, if you do well, whatever, I'll buy you a guitar. So that was kind of like, then I did well, and then she bought me a guitar, and pretty much from then I just stopped playing piano because I just was really obsessed with the guitar for a couple of years. And I kind of like started like around that time too. Once I started playing guitar, it's really similar. It just goes back to the same thing. It's like a lot of, American musicians at least kind of have this story of like, okay, well, I played this, and then I played guitar, and then I started writing music with people. So just me and a couple friends started kind of like jamming and playing music together, and sort of like talking about being in a band and sort of forming a band. So then that kind of like bubbled into like my high school band, and then like that sort of like rolled into like a college. Like I turned that into a band when I was in college, and then basically at some point in there, like my really good friend and I, Brandon, he still makes music too, but he and I were like playing together. We weren't really like we didn't think of each other as like singers, but we were the only 2 people that were playing with each other for a while, so we kind of like sang and did stuff, and then we wanted to start the band, so we started kind of like writing our own songs, I guess, to make it a real band. So then for a couple years, we were like bringing in singers. So we had this girl in the band for a while who was singing, and then she left, and then another friend of ours joined the band and sang. And then eventually it was like, well, we're writing the song, so why don't we just sing? But it was sort of this like confidence thing, because we didn't come from like, the singing background. It was more from like the instrumental side. So, so then eventually we started singing, and then like, you grow in confidence and that sort of thing. And then just started writing more songs, and just kind of led me to here, a couple bands later sort of thing. So
And like, obviously it's good because you have great success. Like you don't know me from Adam, and I found you, and I was like, oh my God, I came running in the house screaming to everybody, like, oh my God, I found my new favorite band. Oh my God. And it was like, I think you're incredible, and obviously others do too. You guys are playing SunFest this year, which is huge. Like, I can't tell you how many, every year I tried for my kids' band to get in SunFest, and I'm pretty sure they laughed at me. But that's amazing. So how did you get notified, and how did you feel when you found out?
Well, it's a long journey, I guess, because like we were supposed to play it in 2020.
Okay.
And that sort of like, that came out of like, networking kind of around West Palm. I had like been involved with some like kind of the local music scene, and some people that were kind of like supportive of the local music scene. We kind of were in this, I was in like sort of like almost like a tech incubator for bands kind of for a couple months. And so that kind of like, that basically turned into like, we were going to play SunFest in 2020. Obviously, like that was announced. I was really stoked and all that. Then the pandemic happened. That obviously canceled it for 2 years. The whole time kind of, I was thinking like, okay, maybe we'll get to play it again. I'm not really sure if it's like a for sure thing. Right. And then, so then last fall rolled around, and I had like emailed, the people that I had been in contact with, the organizers of the event. And then they kind of sent me this. They were like, all right, well, all the local bands have to submit through this, form. And I was like, oh God, are we going to have to like assert ourselves? It was like kind of like I didn't necessarily feel like we were owed it, but I, did sort of on some level feel like we were
right.
Play
you were robbed.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, everyone was robbed 2 years ago, so I can't. It's hard to, wallow in that. But yeah. So, anyways, we ended up basically we submitted and we got it, so I can't complain. It was awesome to see we're going to play it again.
Right.
I'm excited. It seems like I'm looking forward to the stage we're playing on. I mean, I have a lot of friends playing as well. Other local bands and. We're playing with the stage that we're on is like kind of in our genre, Rainbow Kitten Surprise, who you might know, like they're headlining that stage that night, and then another like kind of Gainesville band that's sort of doing well is playing with us. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. I think it's going to be a really cool opportunity. It's like sort of hard. I guess I'll know when I get there, but it's sort of hard to wrap your head around like how many people will be there because. I've actually never been to SunFest, even though I've lived in West Palm for 5 years. But I don't know. They say like 30,000 people go on
it's a huge
Thursday.
event.
So I mean that's captive audience. So whether they like us or not, they're going to see it.
They have no choice. But
I hope they do like us.
Oh, I'm sure that there's no doubt. There's no. Everybody I talk to, like even the bands that I've had here. They've heard of you, and they're from Dade County, a lot of them. So yeah, no, definitely, they're gonna love you. You had said something about God. If I wasn't so old and had a horrible memory, I'll think of it again.
Maybe it'll come up again.
It will. So, how many EPs do you guys have out? You've got a long list of music out.
Yeah, we have. So there's the one EP, like kind of the first 5-song EP that I sort of like had. Like used as sort of a kickstart. Like the idea was I just wanted to get some music out there, so I had something to draw people back to. So I put this EP together with a friend of mine and a few other people, and so that's like a 5-song songs for new sincerity, and then that and then just last year we put out the full length album. I guess it's a 45-minute album, so it qualifies. It's 9 songs, so that's all the music basically we have out currently.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like as soon as you put something out, you just feel like you have to are forced to start working on new music again. Right. But yeah, I'm proud of it. I mean, it's been the album process is very challenging. So it was good to finally, and like I had wanted to do like a full album because I never really put out an album. I had, put various like EP lengths, I guess, but never like kind of something that I saw as like an album. So that was kind of the goal of doing that, was to put out something longer and like a little bit more like meaningful, impactful, I guess.
Yeah, one of my questions I was gonna ask was, what was the most challenging project you worked on? So would that be considered the most challenging thing, or?
Yeah, just because it's a little bit bigger and, you're kind of like functioning as your own like team. I mean, you have your bandmates to rely on, and certainly like everyone that played on it is an excellent musician and put in a lot of work. But then there's like a whole back end of work where I guess just creating the music side of it, just pre-release and all that, you're kind of like, that's a lot of work in and of itself, because you're writing, you want to like arrange it, make sure it's correct. There's like so many different like processes you can take to do that. And I kind of I don't know. I mean, we decided on kind of a process that we were going to take, and then we ran with it, and that was kind of like what tied the record together, I think, in the end. So, but then, you make something, and I've made many things before, and then you put it out, and you don't really want it to fall on deaf ears. So you kind of have like, I guess, the marathon's just starting there.
Right.
And so, that was kind of something this time where I didn't really want to squander it. You have like this nice piece of music that you believe in, but in order to kind of take it to the next level, you have to kind of like put some more effort behind it. So that was the challenging part for me. It was just like, kind of leading up to the release and post-release, like trying to get press and trying to like, play promotional shows and trying to like keep up with social media and trying to like, have like, content, as they call it now. And, just having things for people to look at and things for people to be excited about.
Right.
And, it's been challenging, but we still have like, we put in a lot of work for a few months, and, I've sort of not really been taking an official break or anything, but just kind of like giving myself like a mental break around it. But we still have like a fair amount of content to release. So,
what is your recording process like? Do you produce your stuff yourself, or how do you do it?
I've dabbled in home recording. I have like a fair amount of equipment myself. But so like the first EP, I kind of recorded in my own bedroom, and then I played drums on it, recorded that with a friend of mine who like kind of was a little more experienced in that. So it was kind of like a bedroom recording-esque venture. And after that, I kind of realized that I wanted it to be more of like a band and to kind of like put together the music as a band. So I'm the part that comes easiest to me, or not necessarily the part that comes easiest, but the part that comes more naturally to me is just the songwriting, because I like just when I listen to music, I desire to write music kind of thing. So it's easier to put those together. So I have like a lot of back catalog of songs usually that I'm kind of like, some like I lose interest in over time, and then some kind of they have more staying power.
Right.
But I guess for this, like for the full length record we put together, it was sort of like I demoed some stuff, like a couple songs here and there, but a lot of it was kind of putting it together as a band. We had like it became like a 4-piece for a while, and so just bass, drums, 2 guitars, 2 vocals kind of thing. Right. So we were playing shows. We played a lot of the same songs for a while because changing band members, and so some of the songs like they stuck around, not necessarily because I like loved them over everything else, but because they were kind of like a little bit like quicker to teach people to play live. Yeah. So we kind of like we've been playing them live for a while. Eventually, like the process, I really wanted. I was sort of like, I guess, enamored with like the process of like recording it together as a band, because I've had like mixed experiences in the past. Like, I look back on the EP and I like it, but I see like certain drawbacks of having to do it that way.
Right.
And prior to that, I had done like kind of a full band recording together, at least to start like the song, to get like the basis of the song. So I kind of like thought, well, I know that was successful in the past, so let's just do it like that again. So we got together as a band on the day of recording and like recorded the songs. Not every single song. We did like, 2 songs per day, kind of like that. And so
that's awesome though.
That sort of gave us like the basis. It wasn't like the finality of it. Like it wasn't the final product, but we just had like a solid song within like a day.
Wow.
And then we could just like build up on it and like retrack certain things or like, retrack the vocals or like add kind of like the production to it. And, and it just made it a lot easier, more comfortable in a way. It's more work like leading up to it because you and the band have to kind of like know the song very well and be tight to do that. But as far as like the recording process, it can make it easier in certain ways. So that was kind of the process, and it evolved. Like we basically all the songs were done like that to start, like I said, but we recorded in a couple different places with a few different people, and kind of like it all ended up sort of just coming together. I think,
So do you write all of the stuff for American Sigh? Is it a joint? I mean, as far as the lyrics go? Yeah. I guess,
lyrics and melody, I guess, are kind of my lyrics, melody, songwriting, like the chords and that sort of thing. I, to varying degrees, like, will kind of give out, like, try to tell my bandmates kind of what I was thinking, on drums or bass or guitar or whatever. But typically, like, I think it's like that's one thing that I like about the band aspect, having other people involved, is that they can add their own like personality to it. But it does help to have like one person's like sort of vision on it. So it's I would say it's like just I write the songs for sure. There's one song on the record that my guitarist Ben wrote. Like he had this kind of like chord progression, like kind of guitar riff thing, and so he showed it to me. I had like a guitar part for it, and then I wrote lyrics and melody to it. So that every other song was kind of just my songwriting. But as far as like the actual parts, they were the various band members play. Christian Romano on drums and Jake Ryan on bass and that sort of thing.
I love your drummer.
Yeah,
by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, what do you feel through your career is the best bit of advice that a musician gave to you?
That's a challenging question. I guess if it feels right, keep going, I guess, or something like that.
Right.
I don't know. It changes over time.
Right.
That was something that's one of my friends said to me recently that kind of like struck me, just because I sometimes like some of the stuff I don't really like doing, not necessarily musically, but like kind of the other aspect of the band, social media,
right,
that sort of thing.
Okay. So, as far as like the other musicians, is there any locally that you like give you some inspiration, or are there any local bands that you feel that give you like?
Yeah, for sure. I got a lot of friends around that I look up to, I guess. I was Surfer Blood was one that they're kind of like a, I guess, quote unquote bigger band. JP kind of helped us put together a lot of the record. And I love their music, and I think they're awesome, and they're kind of, that's a big inspiration for sure, like locally, and then, other like kind of local bands around us, like Dirt Bike, Creature Cage, I think you spoke with, you had that conversation with Josh, and we met a while ago, and, we have slightly different music tastes, but at the same time we have very similar music tastes, so it's kind of cool to like listen to his music and kind of
he commented, if you watch his podcast, he commented about, or maybe it was after when we were talking. Yeah, it was after he was saying how great your music is. Yeah,
and it's cool, like especially like that kind of relationship, because we're not playing the same genre necessarily, but we still like respect, and we like each other's music, and Yeah, and like other local musicians, Emily Blaylock, she just, I featured some vocals on one of her songs.
Yeah, it's a great song. Change?
Yeah. Change. So yeah, I really liked her EP, just there's a lot of other local bands. I'm trying to, think of some others to name, but yeah, those are the ones that come to mind.
Okay. So if there's another band, a celebrity band, who would you want to collaborate with?
I mean, I guess Radiohead. I'm wearing the T-shirt. I just
love Radiohead.
Yeah, they're celebrity enough.
Yeah, they are for sure.
Highly celebrity. But yeah, I guess them. Just I don't know. I wonder what like a collaboration would look like. But
I think it would be a good one.
I think
it'd
be interesting. I mean, anytime you like work with another musician, like it's very interesting just to like see the dynamics of kind of like what you don't know how the relationship is going to affect the music, so you can like it's just always something different.
Right. Has anybody ever told you that you look like the singer of AWOL Nation? You probably get it all the time.
No, I've never heard that actually.
Really?
I don't know what the singer of AWOL Nation looks like. I've never seen a picture of him, but
we're gonna fix that, and you're gonna feel like you're looking in the mirror.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. Sitting here looking like, oh my god, you look just... And I can't think of his name. I was trying to think of his name. Okay, AWOL Nation. It's funny. Talk about right place, right time. I fell in love with AWOL Nation when they opened for Fall Out Boy, and I had not ever heard of them yet. Very similar, very similar. And he's also he had the longer hair.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I saw him open for Fall Out Boy. I had no idea who he was, and fell in love with him. Mm-hmm. And then he came to Revolution Live, and Iron Tom from California.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with Iron Tom.
Funny story about that.
Yeah? Oh my God.
So when I was in high school, I had this physics teacher, and this was like, 8 years ago or something, maybe even longer, maybe almost 9 or 10, but like, anyways, yeah, my teacher was like, oh, my brother's in this band, like, they're like in LA, they're like pretty cool, they're called Iron Tom, and I was like, okay, whatever. But then like years later, I kept hearing about them, and like it's the same guy, like his brother is like in that band. I listened to them a couple times,
right.
But I haven't really. Anyways, it's just a weird connection.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, when I saw, like, it was the first time I had seen them. They were opening for AWOL Nation, them, and I forget the name of them, but they're very popular as well. But I was like, oh my God, this band, like the show they put on, I was like, there was moments, because I brought my daughter to it, there was moments where I thought I was going to strip. But I was like, I had to cut the video. I was like, oh my God, he's literally going to take his pants off right now. But he stopped. But his belt did come off. So, but it was quite a show. If they're ever around, you definitely want to see them. I definitely need to. I'm actually shocked they haven't made more success than they have, because they're really very good. Harry, his first name is Harry. That's what. Okay, and the guitarist is the son of someone from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So a little bit of, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's something I've learned too with music. There's so many connections, and like if you like bands that I played with in high school played with Iron Tom, and just other bands. There's always like these kind of weird connections. Yeah, but it's funny. Like someone from Florida, they're just like they're pretty much a local band over there, doing their own thing in their own way through their little tours, and like. I'm sure they know that I'm a fan, because I did reach out to them and ask them for the chords to their people like Elijah, but they didn't have. They just said that they just kind of no one ever did the the tabs. He said that there's no tabs out, because I wanted my daughter's band to cover it, because I just loved that song. But you know how it is. So anyhow, but it's funny how that works. Like they came here to open for them, and then they right place, right time. I'm sure they grinded. Next year they'll be playing SunFest maybe or something.
Maybe. I don't know. I know you are. So what's the most valuable lesson that you have learned in the music industry?
Most valuable. I guess I would just say the same, kind of like if it feels good, keep doing it, because it's, I guess, I don't know. I don't really feel like I have any like super sage wisdom about that I learned. I'm trying to think. I guess, you know, just having like determination, I guess, in general, I think was key to completing like the album that we did, because I don't know, you know, we were in the process of recording it when the pandemic started, and you know, so that kind of like gave us a few months where we just weren't meeting at all, and then slowly we started meeting up and recording, and it was kind of like, oh, should we finish it or should we just put out the songs we have? But I guess eventually I just like defined what it needed to be, which was like, you know, this batch of songs, we need to finish this, and that'll kind of like complete it. I guess just defining what I wanted and just actually doing it, you know. So determination, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So who do you compare yourself to if you were to do that? A lot of bands say that they don't like to compare themselves to others, but
in terms of like sound, or I don't. Let me see. I got to think about it for a sec.
Yeah.
Let's see. Like, it's so funny because like the only music I really listen to is like, you know, like music that sounds like us, but that when I'm asked it, it's like hard to come up with.
Of course.
I don't know. I guess like Spoon or like, you know, Arcade Fire. I mean, it's hard to say bands without like, because some certain bands like Arcade Fire, they're huge. And,
yeah.
Like, and Radiohead, I would like to compare ourselves to, but it's like hard to because they're so like big. And but I mean, those are like who I guess like I draw inspiration from those bands, so I like to kind of just I like to think that we are
right
of a similar vein, but also like more poppy stuff. You know, I don't know what's on the radio these days. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Walk the Moon or something like that.
Right.
Maybe something more poppy. I definitely like don't. I try not to shy away from making things poppy because that's what I usually like. You know, I like this. I don't know. I like the like interplay between like the poppy aspect of like, you know, rock music, like more like catchiness, and then like the kind of like abrasive, like more like noisier side to it.
So you would say Radiohead and Arcade Fire are your musical inspirations?
Yeah.
They're good ones, yeah. So, okay, so before you came to Florida, you were in California, and you said you did music over in California as well?
Yeah.
What's the difference? I actually had a local band, a California band, on my podcast. Oh, cool. And they're super cool. Funds for Jimmy. It's already been out, so if you ever have a minute.
Yeah.
What do you feel the difference is between the local scenes here and there? And who do you think has a better local scene?
It's hard to say, I guess, just because I've changed in time since I've been involved with it.
Yeah.
And I guess like I was in kind of a micro scene of like I grew up like in the Bay Area, like North Bay.
Okay.
So it was kind of like a little bit insulated. Like it was we were sort of related to the like San Francisco scene. I would say the local band scene here in California are different in the sense that I don't know. Florida is just very isolated from the rest of the country because it's especially in South Florida because we're at the bottom of the Panhandle. Yep. So if you want to play out of town, you're either like playing, you know, in Florida or in various places in Florida. But if you want to get out of Florida, it requires like a significant amount of effort to kind of go out there and do that. So I guess like in California, you have like a fair amount of cities to play. There's a lot of people, similar to South Florida too, but it's kind of easier to do like out of town shows and gig like that, and the same, I guess, for the same reason, like there's more like music like opportunities there. You know, there's more labels there.
Right.
There's more like people. There's more like producers, studios, that sort of thing. So I guess like in just comparing them, it's also more saturated in California too. I guess there's more people like trying to do it actively and you know, so it's, I don't know, it could you could say it's more competitive here But you could say it's less competitive here because we're all kind of in the same pool together. So I don't know. I don't really have any like big distinctions, but I one thing I like about the South Florida, music scene or like the band kind of scene, like local band scene, is that there's not like there is like competition between bands. Like there's that kind of feeling of like jockeying for the same gig, but at the same time, like no one moves here very few people move here to like become a musician. Right. So there's not as much like snootiness in that way. Like people, if there are any people that are snooty, usually they already moved, to try to pursue it somewhere else. Not necessarily a bad thing or anything, but just people that are around here, like they're usually from here, so they're doing it more just because they like it.
Yeah, no, it's 100% right. Like, I've been a part of the scene, a mother of the scene for like my daughter's 19. She's been playing bars since she was 13. So but it's like a big family, this local scene here. It really is. And like they'll plan showcases, invite your band. Like there was only one band which will remain unnamed that was like their competition, but I think it was because they were the same age, because they started young. And they were playing with the older bands, but then there was that one other band that was the same age, so they felt a little, intimidated by them. So you automatically are not allowed to like them, right? So, but it is what it is. And I'm sure now they are all friends.
Yeah, it's hard to avoid like the competitiveness of music.
It is.
Because you're constantly comparing yourself to people that you're listening to, like musically or in popularity, or like, especially with social media, it's like really easy to just compare yourself. So, it's nice to just kind of have more of like a mutually beneficial relationship with other bands down here. And that's something that's made like social media easier for me, is just like, I don't feel pressure necessarily to like, I don't know, I just try to be more positive to the other bands, and like, just because it's like, I know that like, if I comment on this band's post, like, it'll, one, make them feel good, two, I like what they posted, or three, like, they'll probably like want to do the same to me, and that'll help me. So it's kind of like grow together. Yeah. And that's also something that I like about music in general, is just like there's like a band like Radiohead is like huge, but then like all the members like have their own kind of like side projects or other things that they do that are like can be successful in their own right, kind of like stand apart. But then people that find out about like Johnny Greenwood through like the scores that he makes, like they might not even know about Radiohead. Right. They might, so it's sort of like just that like web, the connections and all that.
That's true. There's a band up in Palm Beach. They were my first guests when I started the podcast. And we met them at a show. Oh, yeah. And they became like my sons, because I don't have any boys, just girls. And they're like best friends with my kids' band. And it's like, that's their Palm Beach connection. But like, they've become so close. It's just really, it was nice to be a part of that up there. I don't know if you've ever heard of Young Fiction. They play around up in Palm Beach.
Once or twice, yeah.
Such good... Nice kids. Awesome. They're in their 20s, and they're kids to me, but it's just what you say.
It's all relative.
It is, right? Yeah. Okay, so venues. What's your favorite venue that you've played, and do you have a dream venue to play?
I guess my favorite venue that we played was probably Respectable Street, just because it's like, it's really the only one in West Palm that's like has a significant stage that you can like, you're kind of above the audience. You have like a deep stage. There's a space to move around in. The sound system is good. There's pros and cons to every venue, but that's one of my favorites down here. And then recently we played like at the Center for Subtropical Affairs.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, I was, they, like I said, every venue's got its pros and cons, but I liked the venue in general. It was very, like, cool, like, with all the tropical plants, and then they had all these different areas. They had, like, a guy making pizza on one side, and, like, a lady selling tea, and, like, doing tea demonstrations and stuff, so it was cool.
Okay.
Had a fun time.
What's your dream venue to play?
Good question. I guess, like, Coral Sky Amphitheater.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, that's a good. I wonder if
just kind of seeing that.
I did have like a little. Yeah, no, like the other bands that I've had, including my kids' band, they love those warehouse shows. How do you feel about them? Like, because you mentioned you like the stage is up higher at Respectable Street. But they like these warehouse shows where you just kind of go and like it's probably like a 50-person max capacity and they shove like 200 people in there and
well, I mean, aside from like the danger of fire code violations, I think they're cool. I mean, I think that's a good way for people to play. I haven't really done too many warehouse shows myself, just because I don't know. As I've gotten older, like my bar for like playing a show is a little bit higher, just because it's pretty significant effort to like get out there and do it. Yeah. When you're younger, it's kind of like, oh, I just really want to play a show, so you'll just do anything. But I mean, we just played like in a warehouse. Like we played in the studio that we record in, but we kind of like opened the bay and like played for the audience outside, and that was really fun because
that sounds like a cool one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was low pressure, and it was just like good time to like spend with friends. And I mean, anytime people are playing music, like more power to them. It's awesome. Yeah. It's cool to get people together. I think that's the cool thing about like a warehouse show down here. Like you're saying, they pack like 200 people in. It's like it's hard to get that many people at like a proper venue sometimes. But sometimes like the allure of like it being in a warehouse makes it more fun for people. Plus like all the like debauchery that they get into. But then, it goes back to, like, the unsafeness, which I feel like I'm old now for saying that, but it's like, shit happens.
It's true.
There could be fires, and I don't know, there are laws for a reason, but, people do things that are illegal all the time, so.
It's true. So I take it you've never played Underground Coffee House, then?
No, we haven't played that.
Okay. That's a safety hazard in itself. Just so you know.
I noticed.
The floor, like, you're in there, and the floor, you're literally, as soon as you open the door, you have to walk straight upstairs. Uh-huh. So you're dragging all your gear upstairs. Yeah. And then the floor is like, everybody loves playing this venue, but the floor is, you're literally, like, someone has to hold the speakers. They're going to fall over. Like, it's safety hazard. Yeah. So, okay. So, do you have any groupies? Local groupies? Any crazies?
Not really. I guess they're like you mentioned PBA a little bit. I mean, we had like a pretty significant like PBA like students from PBA coming out to our shows for a while. We still do. Emily went there, and she was a fan of ours, and she was kind of in that scene too. So, so I guess I don't know. That would be our kind of like. There's no stalkers or anything. No, not at least not
that you know of.
No, not that I know. Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any like crazy shows, like and crazy things that have happened at shows, like any crazy stories?
Let's see. I got a couple. I don't know. I mean, I'm probably forgetting something, but the funniest one was like I was in high school and my band was really excited to play this show in San Francisco because like as like a teenager band, you kind of get like targeted by like pay to play shows where you have to sell tickets and stuff like that. And this show was like not like that. It was like the first time we were like, oh, we're just gonna like play on a stage in the Mission District and it's gonna be really cool. And but we left like after school and we were supposed to meet there like 6 or 7 to like play. We were going to be the opener, so we were all like we went down in like 3 different cars to get all our gear, and when we got to the venue, we like there was a fire lane, so we were able to kind of like use that to unload our gear. But then the problem was we're in downtown San Francisco and there was no parking anywhere, so we're like, oh crap, what are we gonna do? Like we have to play it, and we got all our stuff out, and it's like we're already like way past the like time we were supposed to like load in and do everything. So it's like the time we're supposed to start is essentially when we got there.
Oh, jeez.
So we're like, oh, crap, like we really don't want to lose this gig. So we find a couple of us find parking, and then we kind of like come back to the venue, and we're all getting all set up and everything. And somebody's like, oh, where's like our lead singer? Like where's Gabe at? And they're like, oh, he's looking for parking, like, you can find it. And we're like, well, somebody text him, like, because, like, he might, the lot that I was in, like, might be fine, but it was like a long walk, and so we're all setting up, we're getting everything set up, and the venue were like getting increasingly like mad at us. Yeah, impatient because we were way over the time that we were supposed to start. And so at this point they're like, you guys can start playing now or you're not playing at all. And you're only getting like this 20-minute set, so we're just like, okay. And like I said, like me and my other friend Brandon had been like writing a lot of the songs. We knew how to sing them. It just was a matter of like our confidence, I guess. So we were just like, well, I guess we're just going to play it like this.
Oh, no.
And so we just played like our like 25, 30-minute set and just did all our songs. And then as like right after we finished, like our lead singer gave
No, it took him that long?
Yeah. He just walks in and like we're kind of like sort of like we just finished, so we're kind of like taking off our gear, and it like kind of looked like we were setting up or something. So he comes up to the stage. He's like, "All right, when are we starting?" And we had to look him in the face and just tell him we had just finished our set. And we're not playing.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Then the whole rest of the show was metal bands. It was like this weird, like I don't know how we got on that stage, but it was
right.
It was a learning experience, about time management.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was funny.
That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it was unfortunate.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Stuff happens. Right?
It does. All right, so I got a few questions under my Mom. You can tell Mom anything segment here.
Okay.
Okay. So, what's your biggest fear?
Disappointing my parents.
Aw. Tell Mom that. That's so sweet. They must be super proud of you.
I think they are.
Yeah. Are they still, like, are you living way away from them?
Yeah, they live in California. So.
Yeah. All right. So, do you have a significant other?
Not currently.
No. Okay. All righty. What is your spirit animal?
Turtle, I guess.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. But are you slow? What?
I don't think so. I just like the color green, and I like.
Oh, it's my husband's favorite color.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, he used to walk around in this, those old Adidas, was it Adidas or Puma jogging suits? I think they've finally come back. But he was wearing that silky green thing forever. It's like the elastic is worn out in the pants. He's still like, oh my God. So funny. Okay. So what's the most embarrassing thing you've ever done in front of someone you've liked?
I don't know. I guess just like snorted, just laughed and like done the like snort where you like laugh and snort at the same time, where you're just kind of like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a specific example, but I can't.
All right, well, that's fine. What do you feel is your greatest weakness?
Overthinking.
Okay.
Things.
Yeah. Start to overthink. I overthink everything too, and then I start to like overthink my overthinking pretty much, and then it starts to play mind tricks on you, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah, it just compounds on itself.
Yeah, it is. It's like a horrible ripple effect. Alrighty. So you write your songs. Have you ever written any songs about, an ex or someone you were with at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, most of them are kind of about people and relationships, other people, and that sort of thing.
Do they know who they are?
I'm trying to think if any would. I don't think... No, not to this point, although I feel like in the future it's going to happen because I'm like, I keep in contact with people and stuff like that. Certain people, so I don't know. But yeah, I was actually thinking about this like the past few years because I've been following this one band called Toth. I don't know if you know him, but he's in this band called Rubble Bucket, and like, I don't want to like start any drama or anything, but basically like him and the main girl in the band like were together for a long time, and then they like had they divorced or they broke up or whatever it was, but then the band like kept going, and then he kind of started his own side project, and like all of his songs are clearly about that like really long relationship. And I read like when he was doing an AMA on Reddit, and somebody asked him like, oh, like how do you write like such like a vulnerable song about somebody that you still like have a like band relationship or whatever with, and like obviously like she knows the song is about her, that and he was like, yeah, I just sent her the song. I just asked her what she thought about it or something. I just thought it was a funny like way to handle it, because it's very like, and I like that too. It's just like being honest and upfront. But you know, I think some time has to pass, because I guess songwriting can be like a form of therapy. You're kind of like processing your emotions. So, you know, sending it to somebody that it's about right after it happened might be like kind of counter.
Yeah.
It might not be helpful.
Yeah.
And obviously if you're like spreading a bunch of lies about them, or like talking in a really negative way, that like, it's probably best just to keep it anonymous.
Right.
But, you know, I have you know, certain songs like I don't try to shroud it in like mystery, but I don't really like lyrics that are so like particular that they could only be talking about one person.
Like, this is definitely about me.
Yeah. It's more fun to listen to music, and more interesting to kind of leave it a little bit like interpretable.
Right.
And more, just interpretable for people to take their own meaning and apply it to their own life, I guess.
Right.
So, and I guess in general, like, I don't usually sit down to write a song about one, you know, situation or experience. It's usually kind of like, it's sort of like the entire experience of what's happening, like, and, you know, if you have a relationship with somebody, like, that's that's only one aspect of your life.
Right.
At the end of the day, you know, you have to do other things in your life. And so I try to, like, when I write a song, sometimes it's like when multiple things converge on like the same feeling, or the same, like, kind of like, they feel like they kind of like rhyme together. You know what I mean? Like, similar situations happen in like work and personal life and that sort of thing.
Right. Okay. That's a good way to look at it, though, because like I can see exactly what you're saying. Like, there's so many same emotions about such different situations, but you're having the same feelings towards the different situations.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. All right. So I asked about that. Who is your celebrity crush?
I guess when I was a kid, it was Jessica Alba. I guess it still applies.
I think everybody's had her, right? She looks exactly the same as when you were a kid. So
yeah.
Yep. Okay. So, what do you know is true that no one else agrees upon?
That's an interesting question. What do I know is true that no one else agrees upon? Like, no one in the world, or just like in generally speaking?
I think it's in generally speaking.
I don't know if I have an answer to that. I mean, I don't know that many truth things. I think, you know, I don't really have an answer. I don't think I have an answer to that.
Okay, all right.
I can't think of anything. At least, it's a deep question, I guess.
I'm such a deep person. I barely know how to turn a microphone on. That's fine if you don't have an answer. I probably don't have an answer either. So
that's a challenging question.
It is.
Can you ask it again?
Sure. What do you know is true that no one else agrees upon?
I guess Radiohead is the greatest band ever.
It's a good answer, though.
I feel like nobody else says that, but I say it.
Oh, I love Radiohead.
Well, Radiohead fans say it, so I guess some people agree on it.
You know, Joshua, his answer, like, he told me that he thought that Anthony Kiedis was overrated.
Oh.
And I did not agree with that.
Oh, so you gave like a little hot take. Yeah. Okay, I see. All right, so maybe I could get a hot take then separately. I'm not in that kind of mood.
Okay. So what life lesson did you learn the hard way?
Dang. The hard way. Dang. I'm overthinking these because I'm really getting
because you're
like,
put on the
deep.
spot.
I'm really going deep where I'm just like, it's like a profound life lesson. Oh, you know what? I guess, you know, things that might seem inconsequential to you can like have really profound effects on other people, and it's important to be mindful of that. Mm-hmm. yeah, just I don't know. I guess there's a lot of experiences that like taught me that, but yeah, just I guess it's just good to be mindful of like how like the choices that you make like can kind of like butterfly effects and kind of hurt other people or you screw up something for them. So.
Yeah, that's true though. That's true. I can tell.
I don't have a specific example.
No, between the question that I asked where you don't want to disappoint your parents and then that answer shows you're a good person.
Yeah, well, that was sort of a joke too.
Oh.
I mean, not that.
Oh, no, you wouldn't want to disappoint.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's, fear of, it's more of a fear of failure because I don't want to like, everyone wants to succeed.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I love my parents and, I hope they, have mutual success. You know what I mean? People want to see other people succeed. People want to succeed themselves. So.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So do you have any other hobbies or interests outside of music?
Yeah, I've been pretty into rock climbing for a while.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, I'm not like, I wouldn't say it's like a current hobby. It's been kind of like an ongoing hobby.
So you've actually went and done this like on something other than a fake amusement park rock climbing wall.
Yeah.
Why are we so scared?
I've done it I did it a lot more in college. Like down here, there's really not many rocks.
Yeah,
but I've gone to like, Project Rock many times. And so I keep up with it a little bit, but yeah, that and like hiking, like backpacking, like camping. I like to go canoeing, that sort of thing, like
outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a little peely right here because we had a picnic at the park last week all day long.
Oh yeah.
So it goes to show how often I do that kind of stuff if I'm peeling from just a few hours at the park.
Because the sun stays out here sometimes.
You would never know I'm a native Floridian.
Well, sometimes you're out there for like especially when you have pale complexion.
Yeah.
It's like an hour of like unprotected can really, really destroy you.
It can. It's so painful. So other than the rock climbing and the outdoor stuff, what do you do on your spare time? Because you have a full-time job, right?
Yeah, I mean, I work. I guess that's not really my spare time. That's just my work time. Writing music. I don't know. It's hard to say because like lately I've just been very like I've just been dealing with some like personal life changes. Yeah, I guess all those outdoor things, or like spending time with friends and getting drinks, or getting dinner, or going to a movie, or kind of like last night I saw, or going to watch other bands, going to see music live, and going to see art. I went to the botanical garden a couple weeks ago. Oh, that's
nice, yeah.
That was nice. I've been trying to read a little bit now. Like I've been sort of like slowly getting more into reading, and again, I guess
What do you like to read?
I don't know. I usually just find the most like pretentious book on the internet I can find, and then I'm reading this. I've been trying to read like Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace for a long time, but I've never really gotten like more than like 100 pages in because it's just such a like mammoth book. But one day I will. Yeah. My good friend, he's like a big book guy, so he gave me like one of his books recently. It was called like The History of Motion.
Okay.
It's basically like about like the wheel and transportation through like history, like how they like made the wheel and then it like eventually became the car, and so how we kind of like, yeah. So, I also like like Jack Kerouac and kind of like just I don't know like romantic kind of books like that where they're just kind of like slice of life, like people just doing things and then the book just ends and.
Yeah, my daughter's a big reader. I don't know where she gets it from, but if her room wasn't such a mess, I would show it to you. Like her whole under her bed is just stacked with books. It's just, and she's read pretty much all of them, I think.
Nice.
Like her day out is let's go to Barnes and Noble. I'll sit in the car.
Oh, nice.
And I wait for her to go in. And I'm like, yeah. It's just so funny how you can be so different. Like, and she came from me, and her father is definitely far from a reader. So. Yeah,
my parents don't really. I mean, my mom plays music. They don't. Neither of my parents really like actively like play it. My mom plays guitar and a little bit of piano and sings, but it's not like an active, like all ongoing part of their life. So
Right.
and nobody else really in my family at large, like my extended family, does music. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah.
You kind of just develop your own personality and that sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, she's like one of my very best friends, but we are so different. Like, I could think a guy's cute, and I know she's going to think he's ugly. If I think he's ugly, I know she's going to think he's the hottest thing in the world.
Uh-huh.
And even with clothes, if I think that it's a horrible outfit, she's going to love it. So it's like, I literally, that's how I live my life with her. It's like, oh, well, if I hate it, let me get it for Mackenzie. So that's, yeah.
Teaches you the subjective nature of things, you know, everything kind of is, or a lot of things are just up to the opinion of.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So funny. Okay. So I have rapid fire right now.
Okay.
All
I
right.
thought we were already on rapid fire.
No. That's the You Can Tell Mom Anything segment.
Oh, okay.
We haven't gotten, we're to rapid fire now.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Let's see if you can do it, though.
Okay.
And I tell every band this. No one's ever really been able to do it.
Is it a yes or no thing?
Well, that might be the problem. I might be the problem of them not being able to be successful at this because the questions. I tried to get better questions where they're a little bit more rapidly. So, okay. But they're not yes or no.
Okay.
Money or happiness?
Happiness.
Okay. Would you date a fan?
Yes.
What is your biggest pet peeve? See, this is where I get everyone.
So tired. I don't know. Waking up before the alarm goes off.
Oh my God. My husband sets an alarm. If he has to wake up like 7, and if he's worried he's not going to wake up, he'll set like 4 alarms throughout the night, just so he knows he has a few more hours of sleep. He's like, I'm like, but you just woke yourself up.
You're in your sleep.
So, okay. What is your favorite color? Green.
Great.
Okay, got it. What's your favorite word?
Angst.
What is your hidden talent?
I can solve a Rubik's Cube.
Can you? Fast?
Pretty fast. Yeah.
Awesome. I never, ever was able to do that. Do you believe in soulmates?
No.
Okay.
I forgot this was rapid.
It's okay. You're still beating everybody.
All right. Good.
Blowing them out of the water.
All right.
Who do you feel is the most overrated musician?
It's so hard. I just feel like I don't want to insult people.
I
You know?
yeah.
But I'm like, who's overrated? I'm like, it's not coming to me, but I'm like trying to cycle through like who's popular right now. I don't know, Sam Smith.
Oh, really? Interesting. My daughter just said, we haven't seen Sam Smith in a while. He needs to make a comeback.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I only knew that like 1 or 2 songs of his that I really liked, but yeah. All right, so if you could live anywhere, where would it be?
Dang. Top of a mountain.
Okay. Interesting. It'd be really cool. We went to North Carolina. No, we were in Tennessee. It was right, like the line. We rented a house this past summer. And I'm telling you right now, I will never do that again. Like, I have to make sure the house, my husband was like, oh, we got to get something high. We have to do this. You know, we're from Florida.
Yeah.
Oh my God. There was a time we were driving and the car started going backwards when I hit the brake because he was yelling at me. I'm trying to get up this thing. It was like a 90-degree turn up, straight up. And he was yelling at me saying, you have to hit the gas. And the wheels are spinning. And I'm like, I'm hitting. Oh my God. I finally made it to the top because we had made a wrong turn in a freaking mountain. And so we were yelling at each other so bad to start off our vacation that this lady came out of a house. Saying, are you okay? I was getting thrown off the mountain. But yeah, next time I do that, I'm going to make sure that it's a little bit lower down because that was torture.
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave the house, the cabin at dark because, like, if we went out and had drinks or something, there was no way in hell I was going to be driving back through that crazy madness.
Yeah, you got to be careful out there.
Yeah. Half of them don't even have, like, guardrails, nothing. You're just, like, dropping. You're done. That's it.
Just got to have that trust. Yes.
Not my husband, I'll tell you that. A guy can't do 2 things at one time. Okay, so what is your favorite show?
Lost.
Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one. My husband had watched that before me, and then he made me watch it, and then my daughter watched it. But how do you feel about the finale? I feel like they sold out.
Is this part of the rapid fire?
Oh, no, we're done with it. That was the last rapid fire.
All right. I really, I don't know. It's been a while since I saw it. I didn't think it was bad. I thought, like, there's so many unanswered questions in that show that to, like, expect them to all be answered is sort of, like, not the point. So I like the fact that the ending was sort of, like, ambiguous and definitive. Like, it sort of, like, answered all the questions, but also kind of left it open to interpretation. I think people are too hard on finales of shows. It like lets them like kind of ignore like all the it's more about the journey, I guess.
Yeah.
Than the ending.
Maybe my problem was I'm never ever right with anything, and the whole time I was thinking this is what it's got to be, and then
like
that's
prediction.
and then I was like, what? I figured it out, like. But it was, what my interpretation was of it, like, I had figured. I was just like, I don't know. I mean, it made sense that that's what it was, but you're right. There's so many unanswered questions in that. But at least I feel there were.
Yeah, there were, countless. I've tried to rewatch it a few times. Like, I saw a few years ago, they have this, like, edit of it where it's, like, all chronological.
Oh, really?
And so I tried for a long time to, like, watch it chronologically, and I only got like a few episodes in, but yeah, I'd love to rewatch that at some point.
I think my daughter, she's watched. I think she did four times.
She watched it 4 times.
Yeah, she watched it 4 times. Yeah,
that's awesome.
She loved that. So we're done with the rapid fire, and yes, you were by far better than all the other bands.
All right,
to date.
Let's go.
So anyhow, what's next for you guys other than SunFest? Any shows coming up? What are you guys doing this year?
SunFest is the big plan right now. We're kind of like sort of getting ready for that. Just trying to make the most out of that. Get like photography and videography and recording and that sort of thing. Talking about going on like a kind of like a tour in the like probably around June.
Okay.
And we have an EP that's sort of close to being finished. Probably a couple more songs will go on to it, but that's sort of that's basically the only planned stuff. Everything else will probably just be spontaneous.
Right. Okay. Okay. You have merch?
Yeah, we do have T-shirts. They're on our Bandcamp.
Okay.
But you can get to it through our website, AmericanSigh.com.
Okay.
They just say American Sigh. They're like a 5-color print, which is like the most like extravagant screen printing you could do, which is like I didn't really understand when we did it, but so they look really good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So all right. So American Sigh, do you have Twitter and Insta and TikTok? Do you do TikTok?
No, not really.
Okay, neither do I.
I consider myself a millennial. I think that's like the dividing line is if you're.
Is that what it is? Okay.
If you're on TikTok or not.
Okay. Because I had someone tell me, Kim, you're not on TikTok. You have to be on TikTok. I'm like, I don't even know. Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's a cool platform. I don't knock anyone for being on it, but I guess you kind of have to make decisions about what you can and cannot spend your time doing.
Yeah.
Because there's too much to do.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right with that. It's hard enough with just, like I said, the microphone, making sure that's on. So
exactly. Just doing the technical stuff and. Yeah, we have Instagram. We're mostly active on Instagram. We have a Facebook. It's usually just kind of reposted stuff from our Instagram, and then our website, and and we have a Twitter too.
Okay,
it's kind of like our domain right now.
Okay, all right. So, anything you want to say before we go, or
No.
Thank
you for having
me. No, thank you. I'm very excited. Like I said, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And I was super excited when you said you would come out and you took Drive for me, so I appreciate it.
It was fun. It's been really good to meet you. And
you too.
Talk, Kim. And
yeah.
Really nice.
No, I really enjoyed it. All right.